So, I replayed Call of Duty Ghosts recently. I switched to Xboxes because the Series S doesn't have a disc tray, so I downloaded the Xbox One version of COD Ghosts, since I couldn't really use the 360 disc anymore. And although it saved my multiplayer stats, it didn't keep my campaign data, for some reason. So I thought maybe it's the perfect time to replay this campaign and kind of see why people didn't like Call of Duty Ghosts. And besides, I can get a video out of it. That, my friend, is what I call a win-win. So let's start where everybody starts with COD Ghosts. The campaign. It's rough, to be straight honest with you. But hey, this game actually does have some strengths. I would say one of the biggest highlights of Ghost's campaign are the unique environment the Ghost team finds themselves in probably every single mission. From a ruined baseball stadium to a weapons factory not designed for war, to an underwater infiltration to an icy oil rig. Ghost excels in having different areas and situations for the player to fight in. And I think that's a big plus when you look at some of the semi-repetitive mission layouts and dull-looking houses that you find yourself in recent Call of Duty campaigns. I also didn't hate Rourke as a villain. I kind of enjoyed his over-the-top I'm evil for the sake of evil stick. In saying that though, the motivation of him and the Federation are completely not explained, which sucks because I kinda liked the idea of him too. I think South America is a really cool idea for an enemy faction, so we're not doing the Russians again for the 85th time Modern Warfare. But yeah, this game really falls apart at its story. Nothing is explained and you're just kind of told to go with it. That philosophy works in a game like Combat Evolved, but doesn't really work here, and sadly, the cardinal sin of this game in hindsight is the cliffhanger ending. Don't do us like this. Don't plan a sequel without proper approval. You gotta wait and just kinda fumbled the bag here because I'm still interested. I watched that and I was a little curious. I think it would have been a cool sequel, but I think a sequel should still be on the table for this game. Because all you need is some competent writers and it's not a bad premise at all. All it needs is a little context. And if they don't do that, just make a spin-off game about Keegan. Cause this man is the best Ghost since Simon Riley himself, the original. Don't get me started with the 2022 stuff. But in total, this campaign is basically just a playground to go out into the environments and take out the Federation with lame weapons. If you turn off your brain and don't really think about the story, it's actually pretty fun. The multiplayer is really where this game gets weird. It's maybe the most hated multiplayer outside of maybe World War II, which is interesting considering that people still play this game. This is live footage from 2023. How am I able to get footage of Call of Duty Ghosts, but not the OG Modern Warfare 2? And it's not even like this game is infested with hackers like Black Ops 2. It's really just people playing Call of Duty Ghosts. And you know what? I kinda respect that. I respect the multiplayer a little bit more than it actually has some actually dedicated fans. That being said, sometimes I don't know why this multiplayer is just... it's just weird. I don't even know if I would consider it bad. I just kind of felt weird with it at the end of the day. The weapon sandbox is just kinda mediocre at best, the weapons are too big, everything looks dull. It really just kinda looks like an echo of the campaign. Although I guess that's kinda how a game engine works, but I digress. I think Ghosts nailed customization for, God, 2013? Having all of the unlocks tied to challenges really reminded me of Halo 3. And while yes, you could buy Captain Price, Makarov, Soap McTavish, all the standard soldier gear was completely unlockable in the game. And that's how you should do microtransactions. Plus, who wouldn't want to buy the Snoop Dogg announcer pack? I mean, that's just an awesome crossover that I'm surprised hasn't really come back in gaming. Announcers are probably the easiest thing to get done. I think Halo 5 is the only other game that's actually done that, but me giving Activision ideas for monetization probably isn't the best, so let's jump over to, oh my, Extinction? I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is maybe the 12th time I've played Extinction, and I don't know why people call this underrated. It just kind of sucks. I think it's boring and repetitive. Maybe that's just because this is the first map and you don't really make the first map boring because everyone has this one, but they did it. You can't really compare it to something like Nocturne and Totem because it was the first of its kind and the Horde mode were already in COD before this release. It's like releasing Black Ops 1 with Alpha Omega and calling it a day. I think it was a very interesting idea to go away from zombies, much like how I talked about trying to move away from the Russian stereotypical enemy, but those four-legged cryptids don't really hit the mark because it was so out of left field. What Treyarch zombies did, and I'll even give Exo Zombies some credit here, they had a believable extent to that this could happen in the real world. Aliens from Space doesn't really fit the bill compared to something like Group 935, but there are things Extinction does well, surprisingly. The customization at the start is pretty cool, having different classes, and it felt like the progression of the map, although being repetitive with the drills, with still a pretty good experience overall, I would say. Extinction is a game you would play with your buddies after a few drinks. I don't really want to do this sober again. So what did I think of Call of Duty Ghosts after 10 years? It's not horrible, and to be honest with you, I kinda liked it. I think that's the biggest compliment I could actually give this game. I mean, when it came out, it was at the end of the Golden Age. It ended the Golden Age because it was just so mediocre. But with my distaste for the modern Call of Duty, I kind of felt indifferent towards this game, even on the positive side. And I had some fun running through the campaign on Veteran again. Would I, or should we support a sequel to this game? Yeah, because to tell you the truth, this and Advanced Warfare are the only two games in the past decade to have any sense of originality. Let that sink in. Screw it. Make a whole Ghosts 2 about Hesh being the protagonist and hunting down Logan who's being tortured by Rourke. Bring back the Honey Badger and replace every single weapon in the sandbox because it's awful. Maybe that will be a good game. But for now, Call of Duty Ghosts. I still can't believe this game actually has a player base. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what I do, maybe consider checking out some of my other stuff. Thank you so much.